Thanks for that. Could I have a mover and a seconder to accept the consent agenda or approve the consent agenda? Walt, was that? Yep. Walt and Lisa. Okay. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. The financial report. Andrea, do you want to take us through that?
I do, except for there's not a lot to take through. So I did reach out when I printed the report for this meeting. It's still showing as mostly zeros in the actual cost column. So I did follow up with the finance department, and she said that the actuals are not going to be uploaded into Questica until after the audit is complete, and the audit is scheduled actually for next week. So after they close the books on 2024, they have all that data, but it's just not uploaded into the software yet. So that's why it's showing like we haven't spent any money.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit here and
there. That's, yeah. The
Okay.
report should show numbers next month.
Great. Thank you. Any questions on that? Cease?
Yeah, I just have one. We're showing that we paid out $60,000 in wages, which I don't have a problem with, but we're showing no revenue. So how the hell did we pay that?
The tax requisition primarily comes from the county. So I can't speak on the finance back end, how they work that. The money's in the accounts, but I think it just doesn't show. Like, I think they keep it all closed until the auditors come and look at everything. And then, so I think we have, the money's there and it's being used. Like, we are paying bills and that kind of thing, but it's just not showing up on this report yet.
Okay, so everybody's getting paid. There's nobody got bounce checks.
Yeah.
Is what I'm...
You would hear about it if we did.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder to receive the financial report, please? Cease and Lisa. And I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone on the floor, your little tiny dots in the screen. Okay. All in favor to accept the financial report? That's carried. Library policies. So our small but mighty gang of policy review folk got together, was it last week, I guess, and discussed these policies, had some good discussions. Andrea, do you want to take us through them one by one?
Sure.
Great.
So the first one we have here is it's under 7.1 in your agenda. The policy is committees of the board. For all the policies that we reviewed, there were not any kind of groundbreaking changes. We did some little tweaks to each one of them. So the way it's formatted, the things that we propose to change are highlighted in the kind of orangish color. So you can see on number 6, it says committee structure and membership will be reviewed annually by the board. And what we had added is at the first board meeting of each calendar year. So that would mean that at the first meeting in the year of every year, we would elect the board chair, the vice chair, and the committee members. That would kind of take place at the first meeting of the year in January or February, whenever it's scheduled. And then the other addition that we had added was that the library CEO would be a non-voting member of all committees. I think in practice, the CEO has always been a member of the committee, but it's just kind of clearly specified that they're on all committees and not voting. So does anyone have from the policy committee, anything further from Adele, Jen, Jackie on this one?
Not on this one.
And then from those of you who weren't in attendance, any?
I have a question about the point 6 there. If it would be prudent or have value adding and electing or re-electing officers as required?
I think that that's actually already specified elsewhere. Yeah, yeah. So this is
Okay.
just for the committees.
Right.
So it is under, no, I think it's in the, it could be in the public libraries.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
it is.
yeah.
Okay,
And
thanks,
I think it's in our governing policies as well. Yeah.
thank you.
So if there are any further questions or comments?
This is kind of the easiest one, isn't it? Not that the others were complicated, but should we go on to the next one?
Oh, should we, I think there's a separate motion, for
Oh,
each of the.
sure. Do you want to, should we do them
There, so,
one at a time?
yeah, so for,
Okay.
or do you want to, read the motion there?
Yeah, be it resolved that the Haliburton County Library Board accepts policy GOV-04 as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder if there are no Jackie? And any seconders? Jackie and Adele. All in favor? Marvelous. That's carried. So the next one, 7.2.
So 7.2 covers policy development. So if you scroll or flip to the second and third pages, there's a few changes on those pages. So in section 2, under responsibilities, we've added the line through the initiative of the policy committee, and then the board will. So the previous version, it just started with the board, the library board will. And we thought to add that because the, oops. Sorry, we just lost, there you are, you're back. Sorry about that. We went blank on our screen there. So because the policy committee looks at the policies, reviews them ahead of time, and then they come back ultimately to the rest of the board. So it just highlighting the fact that we are moving through them and then bringing them here to the rest of you. And then a slight change in section 5. The sort of the content didn't change, but the semantics around any one of. So it just makes it a little bit more clear that when we're bringing a new policy to the table or revising an existing policy, it doesn't have to be all of A, B, C, D, or E. It can be any one of that can bring a policy to the library board for review.
And then the appendix is the same, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, so the appendix is, it's the sort of the format that we will use for each policy. So it just, so essentially, so they all look the same. So they have our new branding on them, the accessible fonts using the different headings and yeah, so they'll just all look the same.
Great. Thoughts or comments? In that case, same resolution as previous. Be it resolved that the Haliburton County Library Board accepts policy GOV-5 as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Lisa and Jackie. All in favor? That is carried. And finally, 7.3.
Okay, so we looked at this one, and again, it's a one word that we in fact added. So previously, the previous version said inform council of the needs of the community, the development of library services, plans and achievements. And we talked a little bit about just specifying that it was county council that we would be bringing this to. And the other levels of government, the municipalities are covered under the section D. So ensure the government decision makers at all levels. So we thought it important to specify, since the county council table is the group who makes decisions around the library's budget. We just added the word county. Any questions or comments about that one?
Marvelous. In which case, could I have a mover and a seconder for the same resolution for this policy? Walt and Jackie. All in favor? And that is carried. All right, Advocacy Committee. Do you want to take that away, Andrea?
So in the process of doing this review of the policies that we were just discussing, we realized that we actually should have, at the start of the year, the first meeting of the year, appointed an advocacy committee. So we do have a policy committee on the go, but now we also need an advocacy committee. So that's the sort of main business for today, is establishing who would like to be on that committee. I did some digging. I found a binder, which has information from the previous advocacy committee. The documents that are in here are from 2014 and 2015. So it looks like when the advocacy committee was active previously, the board chair was on the committee. Liz Danielson, I'm not sure whether she was in that time board member or warden. We had the CEO, another staff member, I think another couple of board members. So I think the CEO will be on it, the board chair will be on it, and then some additional members.
So for the staff person, would that be, for instance, the communications coordinator when we have?
That would be the logical person.
Yes.
Now, we don't, so I think you can decide today if
Yeah.
you think that that's necessary. So the composition of the committee. Digging through these notes, there's an example from another library system where they have someone from the Friends of the Library on the committee.
Mhm.
They also have community representatives on the committee. You could also say to the people who are interested from our table to take this away and talk about if there are people outside of the board that you'd like to have on the committee. But essentially we would need from today, some board members who are interested in participating on this.
Well, I'm interested, and for the, I think that the committee's role should definitely be that there's no overlap. I mean, that the advocacy efforts are coordinated. So having a Friends of the Library person plus the staff communications person plus a couple of board members would be plenty. But so anyway, I'm stepping up to say that I would be happy to be on that committee.
Andrea, do you have any insights? How would it work if a Friends member joined the committee, obviously doesn't have a vote on the board, but would want to probably influence the goings on and the work plan of the advocacy committee? Do you have any insights from the other examples of how that would work?
I think ultimately all decisions would come to the board, like anything about governance or finance. But in terms of strategies, I think everyone on the committee would be able to contribute. I'm not sure. I haven't spent a lot of time with this binder yet, but that's something probably that at the first meeting we might like to do as a group to kind of see what they were doing beforehand, what other libraries are doing, and then come up with a terms of reference and a plan going forward. I mean, these documents are from 10 years ago, so looks like Dave has a question there.
Dave?
Sorry, Andrea, I certainly didn't mean to cut you off. I would dare say that I would like to see one of the members, might be or a couple of the elected members on that. Um, I was warden back in 2014, so Liz was not ex officio, which I am at this time. It was just my suggestion.
So, do we have some electeds who are willing to put their names forward for that? I see Jen shaking his
busy.
head. It's not through lack of love, that's for sure. You know,
it's
we've
not,
got
yeah.
there's so much. Okay. Um, well, I will put my name forward. And again, with all love, it's really it's a time, it's just a time thing and a commitment thing. We all are on quite a number of committees and yeah, but this is an important one. So I'm happy to put my name forward. So we've got Jackie and Jen. Is there someone else from the sitting board?
Well, I mean, I will sit if there's no other public member willing to,
Because Jackie is a public member.
yeah.
I do think, although as electeds we are when with our library board hats, we are thinking and acting and speaking exclusively as library board members. I do see that there could be a benefit in having one more public representative than elected on the advocacy board, or the advocacy committee, even though it all comes back to the whole board. Because ultimately we're receiving the advocacy when we put on our other hats. Paul?
I will offer to sit on the group. I think Adele's done yeoman service or yo person's service and on the other the policy and other areas. So I feel like I'm shirking if I don't put my name in. But if Adele is more forceful, I'll
No, I'll
step
withdraw.
back.
I'll withdraw in favor of you, Paul.
Okay, so we've got Jackie, Jen, and Paul.
Yeah. And do we need to elect a chair then, or does that happen at the first meeting? Probably that happens at the first meeting. Or is that you by default, Andrea?
I would have to dig into that. It might depend on the terms of reference that we come up with.
Yeah.
I mean, the board chair, sorry, we haven't mentioned Dave, but the board chair is on all of the committees.
Yeah.
So it may be him.
Okay, yeah, true. So we'll dig a bit more. Okay, good. Any further discussion on that? All right, great. So could I have a mover and a seconder to appoint Jackie, myself, and Paul and Dave in absentia as board chair to the advocacy committee? Lisa and Adele.
And me.
Well, yeah, but you're a given.
Not voted.
All in favor? Okay, thanks.
Did have one related question, pardon me, I should have asked before, but as far as frequency of meeting or when we first meet, we should probably discuss that today, should we not?
I think that will be kind of some calendar wrangling. I can send out options
Sure.
to the group, and then we can decide, but we could set an approximate timeline for like which week or.
Sure, I just wanted to close that
Yeah.
off.
I'd be happy to take that offline if that's okay with you, Paul, that we just do maybe a
Sure.
little doodle poll or something, because the nuts and bolts of how often we meet and on what basis we'll get into when we look at the terms of reference. And I think
Sure.
that's the piece that's really important to nail down. So
Sure.
we'll just commit to organizing a play date soon.
Sure.
Okay.
That's good.
Municipal update roundtable. Are there any updates from any of my beloved peers from council? Cease, Walt? No, I think we're all right there. And no closed session, I don't believe, Andrea? No? Well, there you have it. So our next regular meeting will be on April the 9th, 2025 at 4 p.m. Just via Zoom or in person too?
It'll be both
It'll be both.
options. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's great. So a motion to adjourn. Lisa and Adele again. Great. All in favor? Good. That was
I
quick.
know. Good job, Jen.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye now. Take care.
So the other